From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com presents the Real Estate King of South Florida with your host, Philip Simonetta, PA. Founder of the Simonetta Group of Charles Rutenberg Realty and the Real Estate King Coaching and Consultant Group, specializing in introducing structure, authenticity, and humanity into the real estate world. Not to mention a splash of wild and crazy. We bring you your host, Philip Simonetta, PA.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Estate King of South Florida. This is Philip Simonetta here with a few guests. We have Ivan Bad to my left here, the producer. And I have Ike Thaler and one of my great friends and sponsors of our show. He owns a company called Video Prints, and we're going to learn more about them in a little while. And next to Ike, I have Justin Stoltz. He's president and CEO of Nationwide Home Loans. To Justin's side is Ray Ramos with Core Title, and a partner with Ray, to his right, is Mila Abosch, and she is a real estate attorney with Abosch Law and a partner with Core Title. And we're all here tonight because we want to basically take some time and go over the real estate process. Basically, a couple weeks ago, I was reading an article, and it really struck a chord deep within inside of me. And as I was reading this article, it pointed out that 70% of people interacting in real estate transactions don't know what's going on. They don't know the full process. They get in there, and the more I thought about reading that, the more I thought about dealing with clients in the past and realizing that they didn't know. Now, I'm not sure if other real estate companies or other realtors use a process or a system. Something we developed at the Simonetta Group. We have profiles and we have things we do with clients to educate them all the way through the process. And what really kind of like stuck out at me, because when you do something and you have a system and a process, it becomes routine for you. So you expect that. But as I was reading this article, it kind of pointed out not everybody does that. And there's people going through this process just winging it and just not explaining why people are doing this, what title insurance is, why you need a mortgage commitment instead of a mortgage pre-approval. And, it's not sexy stuff. It's not interesting stuff. And I get why people don't understand it, but it's a huge investment. And it's for most people, there's investors who buy and flip properties a couple a month. But most people, first-time home buyers, people, just getting married and settling down or having a family, they don't know the process, and they look to us for that education. So something that really after I read that, something that I got was I wanted to put together a radio show with professional and qualified individuals who I work with and who I would call colleagues, and I wanted to each of us take the step of what we do and marry it together for people to understand. So not only are we putting this show together now to introduce that, this is something that we can each use with our clients to say, look, I understand a lot of people don't know the process, and if they have questions, they can pull this link out, look at it, and watch the whole process from A to Z. And now we're becoming not only, great at what we do, they'll appreciate what we do. Because a lot of times, I'll deal with a client and it's 1, 2, 3, and they're like, oh, thank you. And I don't think they truly appreciate how simplified the system was made. And I'm sure you guys deal with that too. We all have great reviews. Mm-hmm. We all have amazing, comments left on social medias and things. But I don't think sometimes people really get all the hard work about what we do. And I don't think any of us are always ever really acknowledged for that. It's just expected. And I think the biggest point I want to make with it is I want people to understand the amount of work and the amount of dedication that it takes to be successful. I mean, in real estate, on that end of it, okay, in real estate, 86% of realtors come in and go out of the business yearly. Now, that's like staggering. I mean, 14%. That's 14 out of 100 stay. You have 70,000 realtors here in our area, and what, 5,000 are really doing the business, if that. And what you're running into, it's not that realtors are stupid. It's not that they're lazy. It's that they're never really taught the process of real estate. And how do you guys feel about that? Like Mila, when you're dealing with people, you're on the law side, so you probably see crazy lawsuits and things going. But like, just give me a little feedback on that, and then I'll continue. I just want to know like what you get from that.
I think it stems from watching HGTV and watching those shows and seeing a condensed version of this package where you're looking at several properties and then you go to closing and then you have a set of keys in your hand. And so...
They didn't realize a title got flipped like 30 years ago by mistake.
Right. So... People get into real estate for whatever reason.
Well, they see the money, they see the glitz, they see the Ferraris.
Exactly.
Same reason that people move to South Florida. They see on TV that there's a waiter making $300,000 a year driving a Ferrari. That doesn't happen.
Right.
They come here and it's like shell shock.
Right.
Same thing. Yeah.
I see a lot of agents who come into the business who are in a position where they want to make a certain amount of money. They have certain expectations of themselves, but are not informed. And they align themselves with maybe brokerage companies that don't have the support staff or the seminars or whatever it may be to guide them properly. Yeah. And once they get into a little bit of a snag with the transaction, they see and understand that there's more to the contract than black and white. There's liability on their own personal end. So going back to what you had mentioned, it's aligning yourself with the proper mortgage company, the proper title company, the proper attorneys, so that you have guidance every step of the way and people to sort of push you in the right direction so you can get to closing. You have that finished product. But I think that's the importance of getting into the business, is aligning yourself with the right people.
I wanted to say something about the it's funny, I was driving here and I got a call from a realtor out of Boca. And I have a short sale listed in Parkland. And the girl's on the phone with me. I'm like, and she's asking me, it's 5:30. She's asking me, can I show this property at 6:30? And I'm like, huh?
Unrealistic expectations.
Right? I'm like, tomorrow? She's like, no, tonight. I'm like, you understand? First thing I say is, you understand this property is a short sale, correct? She goes, what do you mean? I go, it's a short sale. It's about to go in foreclosure, and the bank approved the short sale at 351.9. Blah 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 blah. Okay, well, let me check with the buyer if a short sale's okay. She didn't know what a short sale was, but she's a licensed realtor that wants to see a house in an hour that she couldn't have sold anyway because it's a short sale, and her client probably didn't want it because she didn't call back.
Because it's after hours, after her full-time job. I mean, this is something...
But that's unacceptable.
And it's not too out of the ordinary. It's not too out of the ordinary to hear things like this. Yeah. We hear it every day as a lender. Yeah. We back in the mid-2000s when the industry was booming, everybody and their mother got a loan.
Yeah, easily.
So it was just... Sure. You snap a finger, okay, the person doesn't qualify with their income, so we'll go stated income, and we'll get the loan closed. Sure. Okay, it sounded so easy, and it was so easy. Yeah. When the market crashed, everything was full verification of assets, income, credit, things of that nature. So we had to kind of become educators in the business. Absolutely. We took the approach where we're not only educating our client, we're educating realtors as well, because they're not aware of some of the laws, the jurisprudence, things that go into day-to-day lending and getting somebody a loan. People just say, oh, it's $300,000. What's the big deal?
Right.
It is a big deal. It's a lot of money.
It's a huge deal. A lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So we've had to take the approach of educating the buyer everywhere from A to Z. And that starts with the application, the expectations, what to expect next by getting in touch with the title company, the close, things of that nature, where we've had to pretty much educate them the entire way. And that's where we've become really successful.
Got it. I get it. And see, the thing for me is, the way the industry is set up now, the realtor does the realtor's job, the mortgage guy does the mortgage guy's job, the title people do the title people's job, and there's no like merge.
Cohesion.
There's no
you need that
one
cohesion,
hand taken to the other. There's laws that don't allow us to interact that way, But there should be some kind of communication that we have where, hey, look, this is what we went up to. Now from this point, Justin is going to take you and go through this. And then, once we get to this point, inspections are done, then we get the title involved. Now title's this, and this. And something I want to work on putting together with you guys is maybe putting together like a webinar. Like a webinar we can do with a conference and just record it one time and have that and really use that, professionally done. And, I have a drone. We got a bunch of stuff. We could do some crazy like in plays and stuff. But I really want to put something together that when we have a client, it's a buyer that's a first time buyer or not that educated. Because a lot of people, I have clients who just write checks that are investors that buy 2 or 3 a month. But the majority of people just don't know. And I think if we can brand that and be known as like the educators in the industry, because there's none. You have real estate coaches and real estate companies out there coaching people, charging thousands of dollars a month, $500,000 a month to coach. And you got people out there that are coaching that aren't in the business. They never sold houses.
Right.
But they're telling you how to sell a house.
Correct.
See, it's insane.
To try to ducktail off of what Phil is saying, what Mila said before is they see HGTV and the guy pulls up in a new 911 Turbo
that they rented.
And he buys this $3 million home and everybody's running around with the kids and it was
island.
Yeah. And it the Beverly Hills show where everybody's buying $30 million homes. It looks and appears all wonderful, but they really don't understand all the moving parts that go into a transaction.
Yeah, I got it. And the thing is, with the education of it, when you educate the people, you become the logical choice for them to deal with. Mm-hmm. So if you become that source of, wow, they're the people that really explain this, you're the experts in that field, they're going to come to you and deal. And, that's one of the things. Like, you're getting, a lot of these realtors getting coaching from people. They put things in place, but they don't hold them accountable. And see, accountability is the most important thing. If I say I'm going to make 50 phone calls and I get 2 deals out of those 50 phone calls and different parameters and nobody's holding me accountable, you're not going to do it. So there has to be some kind of accountability. There has to be some kind of not just accountability. There has to be some kind of like morality and some kind of character involved too.
Well, I think what we're getting at here is, we're in all areas of, different areas in the real estate game we choose to be in. It's just taking ownership in your trade. Real estate from A through Z when it comes to buyers and sellers, great. Yeah. Then we have Justin, he knows, if someone could qualify for something. And if they can't, he's got to say, hey, listen, you know what? You need to shape this up before we're able to get this for you. Yeah. A sale now might not be a sale. No now is not no later on. Yeah. And then on the title side, we're the referee pretty much what we have of the transaction. Sure. And when the contract comes to us, a bulk of the stuff is done already on the real estate side and also on the lender side. But the lender has a very big, crucial part in the whole real estate transaction when it comes to financing, of course. So the weight is on them, but as a title company, with title companies, what we do is we make sure there's no any types of encumbrances or liens on properties, and that's something that we have to educate people. Grabbing someone's hand and walking them through a transaction is something that we do often. And Mila has stressed how the importance of this, and that's why I'm in front of you, and I'm in front of Justin, and we're here talking about this whole real estate game.
I get it.
So I thank you. We thank you for inviting us on this show, and we're looking forward to just keep on talking and just strategizing and to put all these ideas together. And I think this is a great idea. Maybe some sort of educational thing where you have a buyer who happens to fall within a certain parameter, and you say, you know what, why don't you watch this video? Or maybe that's the first email that goes out to them.
Absolutely.
So now they watch this and they're like, huh.
Even as you're getting clicks on your pay-per-click site. Say you know how you have your autoresponder send an email. First email is, hey man, it's so great to hear from you. We just want you to understand the process. Boom, this link's already in there. So everybody who clicks on you, boom, gets it.
I think it's a great idea.
Instantly. you know? So I just want to take a second. I want to go back to the process. So I just want to go back real quick. I don't want to like change topics too quickly, but I want to go and just take a client from step one to the end. Okay, so you know, for example, you know, I get a click, I get a buyer lead that comes in, or I get someone walking down the street that wants to come in, or just a friend of a friend refers somebody. And the first thing I do with them is I sit down with them. And I have a client profile. I have a profile I created for buyers, listings, and for rentals. And see, something unique about what I do and what we do at the Simonetta Group is I don't care if they're renting something for $1,000 a month or buying something for $15 million. I sit with them the same way. And I go over a profile with them. And the profile is about a 6-page form. And it goes over everything from what they want, don't want, need, don't need, can live without, or can't live without. You know, it goes down to questions like, do you have overnight guests and do you need extra rooms? I mean, it goes over anything in 15 minutes that builds rapport instantly. And it shows people you care. See, when I'm sitting with a client, their money's my money. Their deal is my deal. And that's how I treat them. I give them everything I got in that deal. I become present with them, and that's what I'm focusing on at that moment. And everything I can do for them, I do. And it starts with the education. It starts with the process. Now, once we go through the profile, then I actually do a search with them. Now, something we created recently is I do a lot of my searches and a lot of my profile work through video conference. So if I have a client that can't get in at 6 o'clock or can't get to the office, which it's hard today, you know, people are spread out and they have a lot of things going on. So I can set up a video conference while they're home, their wife and their kids are in the background, and I'm going through the process with them. I share my screen with them. I show them the properties we're looking for. I map them. I schedule the showings before we actually physically meet together.
I think you need to explain what MLS is, what showings are.
Oh,
because
sure.
I think those little key words, sometimes you say them all day long every day, but
People
we don't
just
realize
don't
that
know.
people don't know what a showing is or
Yeah.
what an MLS is and how every agent has access to the same database. So it's...
So let me take a step real quick. The multiple listing service is the MLS. And what that is, it's a service that every listing is listed on. So everything feeds off of that. Zillow, Trulia, all these other sites feed off that information. So the most accurate information you're going to get is through the multiple listing service because it updates every 15 seconds. So you have that all right there in front of us.
Really, only agents have access.
And only agents have access to that. You have to be a licensed real estate agent and a member of a board, like the Greater Fort Lauderdale board or the Miami board or the West Palm Beach. So you have to be a member of the board to have access to that information. And it's so important because when I'm sitting with a client and I'm doing a search, and then I set them up on auto searches. So if we want to be between certain streets and certain areas and certain price ranges and certain bedrooms and certain size bathrooms or whatever they want, you know, if they want a pool or not, I do that search and then it updates us for 90 days if something pops up on the market or if a price came down on the market. It's all instant. And doing that with them as they're sitting in their home, looking at the screen, looking at me, and I'm at my office looking at them in the screen, and I'm searching the parameters for what they want, and we're going through pictures, and then I can schedule when I say a showing. If we have from 6 to 8 p.m. tomorrow night to go look at homes, I schedule them right there through the computer while we're sitting there. We can meet at the first house and go from there, or they can come to the office, we can go from there, whatever's convenient. And I really put the client's needs first when it comes to that. And now I also have agents who work with me who I have showing assistants, and I send them out sometimes if we have more than one showing at a time. So there's always ways to create that perfect schedule and get people in to see what they want to see. Now, while we're doing this, the most critical part of this deal is getting approved for a mortgage if they're not buying cash. And this is where I actually introduce to them a lender. Like I'll introduce Justin, and I'll give them Justin's link, and then I have Justin contact them. I'll tell them, look, Justin is going to contact you because before we even go and look at a house and you want to put an offer in, we need an approval letter to send with the offer. So once you're making, say we go out tomorrow night and find a beautiful home that you want, and now you want to put an offer on it. So we make the offer, we send it, but you need an approval. What seller is going to say, okay, I'll take it off the market and put it under contract and not know if you can get the money?
Need some way to buy it.
Right.
Need some method to purchase
well,
the
you
property.
need to know if you're qualified for that price range. And
Sure.
most of people my age are coming out of school with loans, whether it may be student loans from college or they continued their education, and that they don't realize affects
Debt to income.
right. So how much they can qualify for, you may make a significant salary with your spouse, your significant other, but going back to what you owe in your car and student loans and prior other debt lowers
It lowers the ratio for what you can spend.
So you may think in your mind, I have all of this money and I make this amount of money annually, yet I only qualify for $150,000, and they thought they qualified for $300,000 or $350,000.
Yeah, because the guidelines are strict now, and there's if you can't bounce over that certain percentage of debt to your income.
And that's why it's important, your first or second step is to make sure that how much am I qualified for, because then your parameters will be simplified and you know what your price range is.
Yeah. Now, when I'm putting them to Justin then, or at that point when I'm introducing the lender, that's the first conversation.
Right. Qualifications.
That's the first conversation. Even though I'm showing them property, because I want to show them how simplified I make it, how pinpoint and laser my process is. I mean, I can have them in a property. I can have them there at 7:30 p.m. They can like it. I can log in. They can sign that contract digitally 15 minutes later, and never a piece of pen or a piece of paper or a pen used until closing. Everything's done, and that's how simplified I have made it. Not simplified because it's hard work, but I have it so laser in a system. Everything we do is a system, and we don't miss anything. We dot every I, we cross every T. So in that initial conversation, I'm already showing them property, scheduling them if we need to, introducing them to the lender, and then once I introduce them to the lender, that's when I bring up the title and I explain to them what title insurance is, why you need title insurance. I go into some examples, and then that's when I bring in Ray and I say, this is who we're going to talk to, and Ray will be our contact for this. So now we're at step one. We do this, and this, and that's where it goes from. So that's just the system of how we can operate it and introduce people to a seamless transition. And another thing we could even do is at one point, the video conference is great for that first interview, but at one point, if it comes down to it, with one of the loan officers in your company or yourself or someone else, I can actually introduce them through video. I could put everybody up to 25 people on a conference. So, for example, if it's now time we're going to put an offer in, I can email you guys a link. Boom, we're in there. Hey guys, this is Jim Smith, and this is Justin here. Now there's a face to the name. Because that's tremendous.
Yeah,
putting a face to it, and this is Ray. Ray's going to work on us with the title. If there's any questions, Ray's going to handle.
Yeah, I think on the lending side, there's so many clients that we deal with that we never even see.
Yeah, I get it.
As a boutique lender in the area, we like to meet our clients. It builds trust. You know who you're dealing with. But there's clients that are so busy and spread thin these days. They just can't get into my office. They don't have time. They just approve me, get it done. Yeah. And it is 2016. Yeah. We do have the capabilities of getting things done via email. Secure uploads to our website,
digital signature,
digs of signatures, things like that, where traditionally the realtor would always be, the face of the deal. The title and the lending side, there's a lot of times where we're not even seen. We're heard from every single day. We're either the hero or the zero in the deal. But typically, thank God, we're always on the hero side, I'd like to say.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But, we do have the capabilities, just like Phil is saying, to do everything behind the scenes through email, through secure uploads, video chat, things like that. So we get that. We do that every day.
And what I'm saying is even just taking that 10 minutes to make that connection means the difference in referrals.
Absolutely.
It means the difference in being related to people. Who else is doing that? What other realtor is putting people on video conference and just having a conversation with them? Like, I mean, I have clients from overseas that I've done deals with, closed the deals, never met them, just through video conference. They come in town a month later and they buy me coffee.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I meet them, because I did a $300,000, $500,000 deal for them. You know,
I think it really fundamentally boils down to the fact that whether you're in front of the person or whether you're not, you're getting to know your client. Okay, you're either getting to know their needs, and I heard a word that went around this room maybe 10 times. It's called educate.
Yeah,
educate. People, clients respect that. The days of being a hotshot on the phone salesman, we're all in this office involved some way in sales.
No.
But when it fundamentally comes down to educating somebody of how the process works, that's what they're respecting. They know that you're a professional. They know that you know what you're doing. You're not just pushing them into doing something, and people respect that. And that's how referrals work, and that's how we work. Traditionally is how we like to work. So just getting back to that word educate, I think that's what this boils down to, whether you're in front of the person, whether you're not in front of the person. Staying in touch with them, letting them know how this process works from A to Z is invaluable, and people respect that.
You got it. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is I want to take a little break, and what we'll do when we come back is Justin, when we first come back, I'm going to have Ike speak a little bit about his company, and then Justin, I'm going to have you speak about your company and what you do, and I'm going to do the same for you guys, so you guys can each get a little bit of a explanation of who you are, what you do, and like what you're about, and then we'll go from there, guys.
Good.
All right, so we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back from SoFloRadio.com.
We'll be right back with more of the Real Estate King of South Florida.
The future of printing is here. If you're looking for a way to make your next promotion stand out, Video Prints combines printed content messaging with target video messages. Video brochures allow you to include a color LCD screen with your next brochure or business card. These brochures can play your custom videos with audio and include control buttons, a built-in rechargeable lithium battery, 128 megs of RAM, as well as a micro USB port and cord which allow you to upload new videos. Video is the most innovative way to stand out and be noticed. Whether it's handed out at a sales presentation, trade show, or as a direct mail piece, video is the most unique aspect, so people remember your message. Set yourself apart by adding the element of video and audio to your message. Video Prints offers a complete line of innovative video brochures, video POP displays, video players, and other unique video graphics. Visit Video Prints website at videoprints.net or call 855-375-4637. Video Prints also carries a full line of offset and digital printing, large format printing, direct mail services, promotional items, and complete design services. Call 855-375-4637. Videoprints.net.
Tune in to Z Nation Radio for the latest and good news about good people doing freaking great things in the world.
Every week, Zaina DeGaia and Sunset Martinez chatted up with some very interesting folks about their businesses.
It's about love,
consciousness, and making a difference.
Every Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. at SoFloRadio.com.
Are you a realtor who's lost and confused? The Real Estate King coaching program is your solution. Visit realestatemarketingcoach.com and find out how. Now, back to the Real Estate King of South Florida.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Real Estate King of South Florida. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually have a little demonstration from Ike from his company Video Prints. And
.net.
Videoprints.net. He has some amazing products. It's just, I'm just going to let him show you because they're actually pretty cool.
I think what you mean to say is the future of printing is here. And it's right here on this table.
Sitting right next to me.
That's right. Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. It's a big honor to be here. I've been learning a lot. I'm actually about to start investing in real estate, so this is perfect timing.
Awesome.
I'm writing notes or mental notes, and that's it for that. But basically, I've been in printing for the last 20 years, straight out of college. I've been, helping companies of all sizes promote their products through business cards, brochures, and literally everything in between. Mm-hmm. Last couple of years, I've, started finding out about these video brochures and these video products, and it's really, it was almost love at first sight. I mean, it's one of these things where it really made an impact the first time I saw it. I couldn't put it down. I kept opening it and playing it, showing it to everybody around, and it was a really unique idea that just I knew would be the perfect way to cut through the clutter. Mm-hmm. And I started. I do a lot of work with different industries, anywhere from through distributors, real estate agents, manufacturers, and literally everything in between. And I've gotten a tremendous response the last year or so that I've been marketing these items.
So tell me about these. What separates you from that clutter? What about these here?
Well, the unique thing about these is that it's a video screen in a brochure. So it looks like a regular brochure, or like almost like a multimedia package. Yeah. It's a nice, thick, substantial piece. But when you open it up, it has a video screen that after a couple of seconds, it starts to play a video, a custom video. And here you can, hold on a second. This particular video, or this particular brochure, just automatically plays the video when it opens up, but there's a lot of unique features they can have. We actually include buttons that when you open up the brochure, you actually have volume control. You actually can press stop play, and you can just make it really interactive.
And you can you can do interchangeable videos, right? You can upload, download.
Absolutely. You can actually have just one video that plays when the brochure is opened, or you can actually have something called a channel. Basically video channels, which essentially when you press a certain button, almost like a brochure, you press an About Us button, and something, a video catering to that subject is played. The same about our products or our services or whatever it is that you do. And that's the one unique thing about it. It really uses all senses to get attention. And actually, so everybody gets bombarded with marketing material, whether it's business cards, brochures, catalogs, and everything in between. This is something where you just do a double take when you see it.
Yeah. How long of a video can you put in these? Like, this is pretty interesting, man.
Well, it depends on how much memory. The standard memory that we offer is 128 megs, which plays on most screens about 7 minutes of video. Wow, that's pretty good. It could be upgraded up to 2 hours, actually, so up to 2 gigs of memory. And there's so many other features that actually make it unique. There's buttons. There's also a micro USB port on each video brochure that literally and actually comes with a micro USB cord. So essentially, you can literally plug it into your laptop and charge it up. So if you're at a trade show, you can actually use it as a sales tool. If you actually want to upload, if you want to charge up the battery, you use it that way. You actually can upload new content and new videos onto the brochure by simply plugging it in and drag and drop.
This is something. Ford Motor Company. There's large companies
going
this way.
And quite frankly, this is an item that's been in the market for a few years. It's actually gaining popularity. It's still a higher end item, so it's not something that most mom and pops can afford to do at this point.
Sure.
I think this is amazing at doctors' offices to learn about just a little snippet about diabetes. That's amazing.
It's huge in the it's very big in the medical industry.
How about at a real estate office to learn the process of real estate?
Right. Exactly.
Education.
Light bulb is
just go to the Phil Simonetta show.
Exactly. And that's something. I can go on and on and on, but I'm just very excited about the response that we've gotten for these and the new products we're actually starting to offer, which are related products. Anything from a point of purchase POP display that has a video screen in it, so almost like a counter card that you press a button or it has a motion sensor, it starts playing a video. And anything from a custom imprinted tablet that you can have Wi-Fi connection for, and so on. So,
so now, do you also offer other print services? Because what I want to do is I want you to explain exactly the services you do with the website.
Right.
Because anybody watching or anybody who's going to see this, I want them to know the other. This is amazing.
Yeah, you mean videoprints.net?
Yeah, video.
Videoprints.net.
Yeah,
okay.
Videoprints.net.
Right. Well, you can go to videoprints.net to see the various products
Where was
we
that?
carry. I don't want to plug it too much, but essentially,
it's videoprints.net.
Right. That is the videoprints.net is actually, it's a new division that we've just launched last July. And essentially I've been in printing for about almost 20 years. Our main division and website is discountedprinting.com. So what we do is we offer a full service of printing and marketing products and services. So anything from graphic design to promotional items to offset printing, large format printing, website design, just basic website design, and programming, and really just everything. Just about everything that
can be printed.
Right.
Cool.
And
All
marketed.
right, man. Awesome. I love this stuff. So anybody who's interested in checking this out, go to videoprints.net, and I'm sure all the products are on there, correct? Everything.
Yes, and we're actually about to introduce several new products, so keep checking the website.
It's pretty awesome, man. It's great stuff. I think there's a lot of potential here.
Well, thank you very much.
Got it, man. Cool. Thank you again, man.
Pleasure to be here.
So next, I want to go to Justin Stoltz. He's the president of Nationwide Home Loans, and I want to have him talk a little bit about his company, his experience, and what he's about, and what he offers to any consumer looking for a mortgage. It's purchase, refinance, anything, any financing that would be attached as a mortgage. So,
we're thanks, Phil. We're a direct FHA VA conventional lender located in Fort Lauderdale. We have an office in Jupiter, Florida, and Atlanta, Georgia. We're not a huge corporate type entity. We're more of a boutique lender. Hands-on customer service is kind of what we strive for. We do not look at people as a number. We do not offer the rocket mortgage, that's going to claim to approve you in 8 minutes, and then you walk with a piece of paper that's basically useless. We take the time up front to show the difference between an actual pre-qualification and an actual approval. And what we do is we're a little bit more of a pain in the neck up front, because we want to make sure that this person, our realtor's involved, the title company is not doing all of this work. Because of our incompetence, something happens and the deal blows up. That's why we always stress get us addresses of houses you're interested in, because every house has a different HOA. Every house has different taxes. Every house has different insurance. We get insurance quotes up front. Not to mention
the condo disclosure. Like, you got to make sure they're approved for the condo.
Yes. So condo financing is a different animal altogether. Those are things that we have to do up front to make sure that our phones keep ringing, because if we don't do that, we're not going to get another shot. It's as simple as that. As any lender will tell you, everybody has made mistakes. Everybody has had put their feather in their cap at some point. But when you make mistakes, it's really difficult to get a second shot, especially by somebody you've been working at forever. And Ray and I have talked about this a million times. I've known Ray for years. It takes months, if not years, to make and gain a relationship.
Absolutely.
It can take a matter of minutes to lose a relationship. So we up front will do all of the work, make sure that we have everything we need to qualify somebody. And I know, even though as an owner-operator myself, I still roll my sleeves up and do loans every single day. I just can't get away from it because I have so many clients. But I know if I'm putting a loan to my processors and underwriters, it's getting closed unless there's a appraisal issue, inspection issue, clouded title, something like that will, because I know I take the time to do it up front. And I've trained my loan officers to do the same. We have to do the right things by our clients, do everything up front where we know when we send that approval letter out that it's going through. And, we didn't miss a loss on their tax return. We didn't miss a $25,000 cash deposit.
That's huge. What you have with the larger companies, I mean, the thing online, what were you talking about?
The rocket mortgage from Quicken Loans.
That stuff, the stuff that they do, it's just it's cookie cutter. And if this matches this, they give you that. But when they get into analyze it, like you're saying, when they analyze that and then they realize, oh, well, hold it, that doesn't fit that criteria.
Well, the thing with lending is you can never fully automate the lending business.
Right.
Everybody has tried. it would be the best moneymaker out there, but it's just not possible. There are too many guidelines, and it takes a human set of eyes to either underwrite or approve or deny.
There's too many moving parts.
Way too many parts. You just cannot have a computer do that. So that's why in my industry, there's nothing that will ever take the place of a creative and seasoned loan officer.
Got it.
Not even technology.
I think it's also important to understand that scary word that a lot of buyers hear, which is underwriting. You're always hearing the word, well, it's an underwriting. And I think you may want to just explain, what does that really mean? I mean, what information are you ascertaining? And then when you submit that to the underwriter, what does that really mean?
Okay, so the two most important parts of getting approved in any loan are, number one, your income, which is your capacity to pay back the loan, and your credit. Okay, your credit history, how much debt you're carrying, your debt to income ratios, things like that go into getting qualified for a loan. Those are the two most important things. Okay, down payment, of course, comes in, but the income and your credit, the capacity to pay back that loan, are the two most important things. So we have, and you could see on our website, which is nationwidemortgagerates.com, we spell out a process of how the loan goes from opening to closing. Okay, and it spells out every step of the way. Now, what we have to go over with people is the important things that we need to get a loan into underwriting. Okay, income verification, asset verification, pay stubs, things of that nature, verifications of employment, things like that all go into what's called underwriting.
You see, this is some of the things I'm talking about that people don't understand. They don't understand how much work goes into a file. They just think, oh, I gave you my pay stubs, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or I gave you my bank statements. Oh, why do you need another one?
Or
they
the
don't
difference
realize.
between a 1099, somebody who's an independent contractor who receives a salary, and the difference between somebody who receives a salary and when you have somebody who's, for example, a 1099, that they have a certain income, but they also have deductions that come with that. So, for example, you make $50,000 that year, but then you deducted because of your expenses.
Your adjusted gross is 30.
Right. Then you've only made $20,000 or $30,000. Now, what are you qualifying for when you make $30,000?
So we, as self-employed people that we qualify every day, it's a different animal. You have a W-2 person who works for a company, taxes are taken out of that person's paycheck every pay period. Okay? Some people like it, some people don't. Okay? When you're self-employed, you don't pay taxes in your paychecks. You pay it at the end of the year. Okay? And nobody wants to pay Uncle Sam.
Tuesday, March 15th is coming.
Nobody.
April 15th.
April 15th.
Corporate.
Nobody wants to pay Uncle Sam. Okay? We all know that. But that's fine and dandy until it comes time to get a loan. Okay? That's where you have a problem. Now, you may make, I've had people that show their business receivables, they have a $2 million a year in sales. Yeah. But it looks like the gentleman made $30,000. Yeah. Because his accountant, who was a crafty fella, went and wrote it all off. And that but I made $2 million, don't you see?
They can have that cake, but they can't eat it.
Exactly. So what you pay the IRS is all indicative of how much you're going to be qualifying for. So that's what we tell people.
That's a pretty slick move.
That's what we tell people up front. And what we have for self-employed people who not every company has is we have 1 year of tax returns for these people. Yeah. So we can show one year of tax returns and they can qualify for a loan instead of the standard 2 years where a Fannie Mae product or an FHA product would require. This is a Freddie Mac product. It's a conventional loan, but it requires only 1 year of tax returns. Yeah. So we educate people that up front, and right now is tax time. Yeah. So you have a lot of people coming to us who are self-employed. So we have to tell them this is
don't file the tax returns until you speak to Justin.
And I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to tell them what to file, but I will say, well, if you showed this, then you would qualify for something like that.
See, here's the thing. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How are assets considered when it comes to mortgages?
Okay, assets. We look at seasoning of assets. Okay, for 2 months. Okay, we want to see that those assets are there for 2 months, but we can also get gifts
You talking about liquid assets, or are you talking about like property owned?
Property owned.
So if you own property worth
Okay.
400,000 free and
a
clear.
combination liquid and
All right,
Sure,
so this is another thing that just trips people out these days.
Mm-hmm.
They think because they own 8 properties, well, I own all these properties. Good for me. I should get another 10 properties. Well,
No.
that brings up a couple problems. If it's in your personal name, you have the liability of the property taxes. You have the liability of the insurance. You have the liability of the condo dues or the HOA fees on that property every month.
Yeah.
Even if the property is free and clear
Yeah.
with no debt on it. You could have a condo dues of $600-700 a month, which is
comes off your debt to income, and if you don't have a lease that shows
Plus
the opposite,
insurance.
exactly. So you
could
have a lot.
leases
And
yeah.
there's special assessments.
So assets,
Sure.
exactly. So assets that go into real property are not looked at as highly as we once used to look at them, and it's not such a good thing because you have to
There's debt-
account.
there's debt associated.
There's a debt associated with that real property,
and then you need to have a lease to offset the debt, and sometimes
and then you
people,
have to
you know,
you have to declare the lease on your tax
yeah,
return.
you got to show the income.
If you don't
So it
show
gets-
the income, we can't use it to offset the payment.
See, this is where the death of the stated income loan killed entrepreneurs and property owners, because those stated income loans before in that scenario is what they were designed for.
Yeah.
They weren't designed for Jane and Joe
No.
who make $60,000 a year to buy a house, lease a Lexus, and then
when I back in about 2006, I knew that there was a major fundamental
coming.
problem
Yeah.
when somebody came to us and they had a very, very low level position, and I won't name what that position
Sure,
is, but they came looking for a $400,000 loan. And it was approved with a stated income loan because it was a liar's loan. That's
all you
was.
needed was a 2 years VOE, and that was it.
All
With a
you needed is
640
a
score.
verification of employment,
Yeah.
and you needed the down payment on the property. That's all it was.
it.
And people were ripping equity out of properties left and right
Yeah.
with cash outs. And
that's
that
crazy.
was the fundamental problem of why, part of the reason of why the market ultimately collapsed.
No one ever thought it was going to stop rising. No
Yeah.
one ever thought it would stop going. That's
yeah,
what happened.
so
That's
those
what happened.
those were some issues with those type of loans for sure.
Yeah. So those loans were around forever.
Yeah.
It was the people giving them. That was
Well,
the problem.
there was also negative amortization loans that if used properly,
They're great.
was a very good tool.
Yeah.
But you had unscrupulous loan
Yeah,
officers
just trying to make money, right?
They were trying to put people into bad loans just to make a buck.
Yeah.
Thank God those people are out of this industry.
Yeah.
It cleared
Absolutely.
them out for trustworthy people like companies like my own and
Yeah.
and the guys that are still in the business who are out there doing well.
They made it so much harder for you guys to do it.
It made it harder, but it made it easier because they all
Yeah.
got flushed out.
Yeah.
You know, it all comes out in the wash at the end. A lot of those guys are wearing bracelets now, and they're
Stripes.
in stripes. Because they did the wrong things by people. But that was another example of a loan that, if used properly, and negative amortization was a pretty powerful tool.
Yeah.
But
For that investor.
but they were told that they could pay a 1% loan, and these people's
Crazy.
mortgage balances went up and up and up and up and up and up, and that's really
Crazy.
what
That's why I think
also-
we should talk about title now.
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
we're
I
Not
want to hear
negative
that.
amortization
I would love
loans.
to hear about
Yeah.
title because I'm done.
That was actually the best. That was the best like turnover. Actually, I mean, it takes you right into the title line.
Sure.
So, I want to go now. Ray and Mila are going to speak about the title process and how that works and what's entailed in that to protect the buyer, because it's really protection.
Well, thank you again for inviting us to the show. The title process, it starts off with a fully executed contract. Escrow deposits are made. We are an escrowing agent, and those escrows are made out to our company.
Yeah. So basically, as an escrow agent, see, the title company handles all the financing, all the money. So when the lender sends the money, when the deposits go in, the first, the second deposits, when anything is done, it sits in the escrow account of the title company, and the title company disperses all the funds at the time of closing. So, like when Ray said before, they're the referee. They really are, because they handle all the parties. I just wanted to say that real quick before.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the referees. It's our core responsibility to facilitate the transaction. I like that.
I like that, right?
Yeah, all right. Got that.
Core title,
core
responsibility.
responsibilities. Yes. For starters, once we get an executed contract and the deposit is made, the communication is set up between the title company and both sides of the transaction, which is the buyer and the seller. Mm-hmm. Now, if there's financing involved, now the lender is communications is set up there. But it seems like it's a simple process, but it's not, because a lot of things could come up in this whole title process. I know. But once we get the executed contracts, an escrow letter is sent out, which is the normal process. It goes both to the buyers and the seller side. Yeah. And then from there, at this point, if there's financing involved, once a title request is made by the lender, and then that's when the whole process starts, where looking up lien searches to see if there's any encumbrances or any liens on the properties, because the purpose of this is, once the whole title process is done, the title policy is issued because of any of these problems come up after closing. Once the ownership is transferred from one party to the other. So if something were to come up, this insurance policy takes the responsibility of paying those liens off, and which is very, very important for us to educate our clients, and not just our clients, but all parties that are involved, especially with the real estate agents that really don't take ownership like all of the people here at this round table. Am I on the right spot? Oh, well, Mila, why don't you go?
Okay.
We'll give a little bit to you right there. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Core team, yes.
Yes.
Tag team, okay. You don't know that you need a title company until you actually need a title company. We're not out there marketing. We don't have flyers out there. We're not in the yellow pages. So we are a referral-based company. Most of the time, our clients will come from either the agent who is representing them on the transaction, or maybe a refinance that comes from a lender. But that is really at the heart of relationships. So the relationships between the parties now puts you in front of the client. And just to be very clear, title companies, they're really neutral third parties. We don't represent anyone in the transaction. So you have a buyer, a seller, and those are the true parties of a transaction. They're the only ones that are actually executing the contract. A contract is a binding agreement between buyer and seller that says, I am willing to purchase this property at this purchase price. And in good faith, I am going to put this amount of money in escrow. It's a good faith deposit. Mm-hmm. That's why they call it a deposit. And that either goes to the broker, which is your office, or it goes to the title company. So whoever is the escrow agent then issues an escrow letter. And then once you have a binding contract between buyer and seller, then all of your contingencies, all of the requirements that are set forth in the contract start ticking. So effective dates, for example, the first and foremost after you have executed the contract is that you're going to do an inspection. You want to see if the property is a viable property. Does it have any issues? Is the roof in disarray? Whatever it may be. And then once you have that inspection report that comes back, do you want to proceed with the contract? If not, renegotiate whatever, or ask for a contribution towards closing costs. Yeah. And so that you can actually repair whatever it may be after closing. So once you've checked off that box, because that's probably the most important box.
Absolutely.
Then you move on to whether we and the lender start working together, and the product from the lender is delivered to us saying, this is the buyer's loan amount, this is who they're using, please do research on the property, which is title. Title is when you pull public records to see if there's any liens, any judgments, any lawsuits that are not only against the property, but also personally against the owner of the property. Because as we know, we're in South Florida and anything and everything can happen. So you could have a credit card judgment, you could have been involved in a lawsuit and somebody now has a judgment against you, or you haven't paid your taxes in the last 7 years and you have federal tax liens against you that have to be paid off at closing. These are things that sellers may be ashamed about, and then they don't let either their agents
the very, very important part of that is
truth.
That when you guys when you guys do that, you search that all out and you're protecting that buyer from it.
Exactly.
And you're protecting the lender.
Absolutely.
Because the lender, if they go in behind another lien,
yes,
their lien doesn't mean anything to they got
Correct.
Second position, third position.
So federal taxes are in first position, period. They trump everything. They're superior. So once we have pulled a title search, open permits are then done, which is what we call a city lien search, which is through the city, the municipality, water, sewer, open permits, and code violations.
That's a huge thing here, too, in Florida.
Yes, and what people don't realize is that permits are not title issues. They're absolutely has nothing to do with title.
I'm glad you bring that up.
They're contractual issues.
Absolutely.
It's in the contract. And I think the most important thing that we can all take away from this is that the whole purpose of purchasing a property is that you're not inheriting any issues from the previous owners. That you're buying it free and clear of any liens, judgments. You don't have to expend any funds after you've purchased the property because of the previous owner or owners.
Something I want to address that you said about the permit search. See, you do that. Your company does that.
Yes.
That's not required, and most title companies don't do that.
They don't do that in Palm Beach any longer because there's a two-part under the inspection clause, and what a lot of people don't realize is it's A and B. And A is the physical inspection of the property, where you hire an inspector, they go and they inspect the property. Part B is really when you are pulling a search through the municipality for open permits and code violations. So if you are offering 7 days or 10 days or whatever it may be, the number of days where you are asking the seller that you need this time frame to do the inspection, what they don't realize is that once you've waived that contingency, which is pretty much saying, I'm taking the property as is, I like the way the inspection report comes across, you're waiving then any open permits or code violations.
Got it.
So if anything comes up, and our responsibility is to do a city lien search, but it's really as a courtesy to the buyer. But if we are using a city lien search company that is going through Cooper City or Pembroke Pines or whatever, maybe they have certain time frames that they're going to deliver the product to us. And now if you've already waived that contingency, now you're taking the property with the open permit. And it could be shutters. Shutters are costly. It could be
people redo kitchens and don't get a permit. And they gotta, I've seen horror stories with it.
Mila, I've seen some cities in Miami, correct? It could
7, 10, 15 business days.
Yeah, that could take a long time.
So the key to that is in additional terms, I always ask all of my buyer's agents to make sure that you...
Seller guarantees all permits closed.
Buyer and seller agree that seller will close out any open, expired permits, code violations at seller's sole expense. So you're... Forget about the actual time frame. You're putting the burden back on the seller, which it should be the seller's responsibility to take on that project and to make sure that it's closed out. But then we also have to go to the associations. So you have homeowners associations, you have condo associations, people are past due in their maintenance, so on and so forth. Now, once we have everybody involved in the transaction, everybody is cleared to close, the lender's ready, the seller's ready to move, the buyer's ready, title is clean, and then the closing date. And then we sit down and we literally go through 150 pages with the buyer of a note, a mortgage, disclosures, and at that point, once the funds are received, then funds are dispersed to the seller. The seller says, I have my money, here are your keys, thank you very much, buyer. But the whole purpose of title insurance is to ensure 40 years back that there's nothing that's going to come up. Yes.
That's awesome, guys. I really thank you guys for being here. You did a great job to explain what we do, how we do it, and why we put our clients first. We're going to get ready to go. I want to address two things really quick. Next Wednesday is our Wind Down Wednesday. The third Wednesday of every month, we created Wind Down Wednesday at our office. It's at 3323 Northeast 33rd Street, A1A in Oakland Park. From 6 to 10 p.m., we have the event catered. I grab a couple cases of wine, and we all have a good time. I set up a little bar, liquor, everything. We just have fun. Everything's free. Everybody comes and just has a good time. And the other thing I wanted to mention was we're also going to be launching the coaching program that I'm doing with the real estate agents. That's going to start probably April 1st. And we'll be talking more about that as well. So I just wanted to thank everybody again. Thank you for watching the show.
Thank you.
Real Estate King of South Florida checking out. We will see you guys the second Tuesday next month. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Nice.
You've been listening to the Real Estate King of South Florida, Philip Simonetta, PA. The Real Estate King can be heard every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on SoFloRadio.com. To find out more about the Simonetta Group of Charles Rutenberg Realty, visit agentofluxury.com and learn more about the Real Estate King coaching program. Visit realtormarketingcoach.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.